Hello and welcome to this, my masterclass on sourdough. My name is Kevan Roberts and I've been a baker for, over 35 years now. As you can see, I'm a Yorkshireman and that's where I learnt my trade before working and refining my skills in multiple locations. Now I'm a teacher at the infamous Breadahead Bakery School in Borough Market, and I've published my own book, Baking Sourdough. So there we are. I know what I'm talking about. Now, in this masterclass, we are going to cover subjects like developing our sourdough starters. We're going to work through the art of fermentation and what that really brings to our sourdough. Shaping and proving, to name just but a few. So let's get started with a masterclass, how to develop a starter. Before I go into doing the process of building a starter, let's talk about sourdough. Because it takes such a long time to come to fruition, it starts its life with this much gluten in there. Now, I'm perfectly fine with gluten. I have no issues with gluten, as you can see. But I know that too much gluten is not a really great thing in my diet. Now, like I said, it starts its life with this much gluten. Because the process is slowed down, the gluten gets pre-digested, so that when you come to the end and it's ready to go, it only has a tiny percentage of gluten in there. Now that is why when you have a sourdough opposed to a supermarket bread, say, you kind of don't get any of the bloated sensation or anything, and that is because it has only a tiny percentage of gluten in there. I do gluten-free classes, and the amount of times that people come to my classes and say they're perfectly fine with eating a sourdough, and I totally get it. It's only got a tiny percentage in. So not only is there kind of health benefits there, but it's flavour for me. This is where we actually want to get to, and it's a really great feeling when you've kind of really mastered this, and this is what we're going for here. I mean, we have an array of sourdoughs here. We've got a lovely wholemeal sourdough there, nice and hearty. We've got a classic French levain here, and one of my favourites is it's dense in structure, but wow, what a flavour impact this has, and that is our classic 100% rye. This is one of my signature ones. I just love it. It's one of my wife's favourites is this, and this is a spring onion and brie. Now I made this morning, so it's still fairly warm. So yeah, let's have a rip up and let's have a look at this thing. Yeah, packed full of all the spring onions, and you've got the brie cheese running through. And when we get to talk about when you're developing your dough, that's the size we're looking for. I don't want this broke down to tiny amounts. I don't want an homogenized taste of this. I want to come across little jewels of the brie cheese kind of suspended in that crumb there. I mean, the flavour, it smells amazing. It really does. That smells absolutely phenomenal. We'll be tucking into that short later. So right, let's have a look now. Yes, that's tempted me. Now we want to go and make our starter, and we're on day one today. And this is the beginnings of your sourdough starter. I've chose to start mine in a fermentation jar. A fermentation jar is a fantastic piece of kit. Now this has, as you can see, a nice watery moat around the top there, because when your sourdough starter starts to produce carbon dioxide bubbles at room temperature, the great thing about this is that when it produces too much, it just lifts the lid up slightly, pops a bubble out, without breaking that seal. It's a really great way of having a lovely rhythmic flow to your sourdough starter. So I'm going to start with this, but We don't have to go. This is kind of real estate for our sourdough starters. But you can go with a kilner jar. A kilner jar is a fantastic piece of kit here to use. Tupperware tub. Anything really, as long as it's nice and cleanable. So right, let's start. We're going to start, and this is day one for our sourdoughs. First of all, my choice of flour every single time is light rye flour. Rye flour is packed full of starch, and this is the main food source that is going to get converted into sugar. Now I'm going with 50 grams of light rye flour into there. I'm going with 50 grams of water. Now when it comes to your water, I've read all the books, guys. I'm going to do this on layman's terms. I really want you to succeed here. And you don't need to go to the Amazon to get the purest water that God has provided. I'm going with straight London tap water here. I'm not going with freezing cold though. I'm going to just bring this to room temperature, not too cold. Remember, this is day one. I want to kickstart that fermentation process, and just a little bit of warm water will really give it that kickstart. 50 grams of water into there, and all I'm going to do is just give this a stir. These need to get to know each other a bit better now. Making sure that you're working all the flour into here, because if you don't work all the flour in, there's a chance this may become dry, and I don't want this drying out. I want this to stay nice and moist. Super job. Lid back on top of there, and that's perfect. That is for our day one. It's a special moment. This is the birth of your sourdough starter. Now mine, I have a 12-year-old sourdough starter. Called Gladys, after my dear Yorkshire mum. And when you build your sourdough starter, trust me, make sure you give your starter a name. Think of a loved one, a child of yours. If you attach some personality to this, the chances are you won't forget to feed this. And if we don't feed this, it will just die. Now, the great thing about your sourdough starter is this is unique to you, because there are different lactobacilluses that go into there. Now, in here now, what's happening? There's got the wild yeast. Now, the wild yeast already lives in the atmosphere here. It's all over my hands. It's in the water. If you want to see what wild yeast really looks like, the next time you get a bunch of red grapes, you can see that powdery film that's rolling around on there. That is the wild yeast. The reason it's on your grapes, on your fruit, is because it's trying to penetrate to get into the natural sugar in there. So now the wild yeast has entered the party in here. Now the starch has been converted into sugar, and now the wild yeast is gorging from the sugar. The byproduct of this is carbon dioxide bubbles that proves our bread up, gives that nice oxidation in there. Like I said, the lactobacillus, which there are many different strains of, and why this is unique to you, is that now starts gorging from the natural sugar, and the byproduct of that is that lovely lactic acid that brings that sourness to our breads. So this is day one, guys. So there we are, the first step in the sourdough process. Developing the starter, simple enough to do, but fundamentally really important for the quality of your bread.